we'll see. I haven't used it in like.
Yeah, but tell them you're in every form.
That's the last time I used my broadcasting voice was May of 2020.
Oh, France.
So it's been a while.
You know what? With the exception of Riley, none of our like people from the chat are here right now.
Well. Oh well.
I'm in there.
He's in the chat.
No,
you're not.
the local,
Oh, no.
local
Because
Colorado.
you're not being here. How do you want to, when we want to start, I'll give us a report.
You got 2 minutes.
You know what? I want to give it like 5 more minutes.
Okay.
I'm already rolling, so it doesn't matter when I want to start.
When are we getting fursuit or weather reporters?
This requires funding. Give us money and we'll make it happen.
When I was in TV, I was always tempted to wear my suit, but no way in hell I
$1
would do
day
that
keeps
with
me
how many
here.
people would watch it. No, sir. I already got complaints. When you're off by 2 degrees, people complain.
Yeah, we don't have enough.
Yeah.
People don't understand the atmosphere is a fluid thing.
You get guesstimate.
Weather parents.
Trying to
Depends
answer
on weather
never
anyways.
100%
Just
right.
guesstimating.
100% of the time.
Yeah, I'm in science, you can be half right about it.
Yeah, but you get complaints.
So, it's fun.
Yeah, but people who are writing nasty things.
Well, they can be all nasty, wonderful subjects. One rest of them, you'd be surprised.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty good. My dad read that. I just get laughed at.
This is fun. I'm gonna go right away.
Both Telegram and
They'll be sure to listen to you. You told me. I think he did know. I think you were, well, no, he told me I did.
Welcome.
I would say right away, oh, you know.
Yeah. I would not do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, the one.
You know what, Riley? You could put like landscape and then like.
That's why I said it's such a virgin.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. Welcome, please stay in the seat.
He finally got it.
Welcome.
Not, but-
Where do you want to sit? Here's that. Over here?
But you might lose his
Wait, stand up. You sit. There you go.
Never actually realized.
You can actually see the panel.
You've been near them, but we don't see.
Yeah, I know, they get water reserve. Wait, one could.
Oh, is it?
That was the lunches, I think, the only thing. Although we had started with the park.
You have to flip there's a switch on the side right here. You have to flip it
Well,
up.
in Hartsville we have.
I hear it, you come on. There you go.
1, 2, 3.
Use that voice. Project.
He said, use your, what's this working now? Hello.
Use your radio voice.
Right, radio.
My radio won't drive. Y'all are gonna hear a very shaky radio voice. I really haven't used it in about 2 years.
Better than we can do.
We're just wait for a few others to see if they struggle in. We're gonna wait for a few others to see if they struggle in, and then we'll begin.
In the meantime, how many of you missed the snow?
Yes.
Yeah, my people. How many of you are gonna hate the snow?
Me.
Your own host hates the snow.
Just send it.
We're ready to go ski it.
Just floor.
I started to snowboard.
Colorado just had their first snowfall last night in the mountains, so it's coming.
It's coming.
Was on the mosquito ring?
We're ready to go skating.
Bring it back. Cocaine. Bro.
Yes. Snow.
Yes.
Snow. I'm so ready for the snow. I miss the snow.
What?
No, I got no more.
I do miss
I got one.
storms. We're in that stupid time where there's like no regular storms to chase. And there's no snow to enjoy. It's August. Yeah, the hurricane season's been really slow.
Well, there's the occasional land spell.
Yeah.
That's definitely.
All the dust.
Right. So everyone keeps saying the hurricane season's gonna pick up any day now, but they've been saying that.
And they got a 60% spot down there in the Gulf.
Yep, near Mexico, east of Mexico.
Oh, no.
Texas is getting that needed rain.
Oh yeah, especially in the San Antonio area, 3 East. A lot of rain.
we get content.
Yeah, we're almost done. We're on the road.
Dylan. Is it really serious?
Do we want to wait for like 35?
I'm like trying to look at the camera, but I can't actually.
I have 2 more minutes, yeah. I'm 35 is fine. I don't want to wait. Just sitting.
How many of you are from Colorado? Oh yeah, a lot of you. How many of you are not from Colorado? Wow. Okay, how many of you are from the Northeast? Hey, Southeast? South Central? North Central? Pacific Northwest? Hey, West Coast? And Southwest? All right, cool. We have people from almost, oh, Alaska, Hawaii, Guam,
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
The U.S. Virgin Islands.
The America Samoa.
Normandy.
Non-American.
You figure out the North Mariana Island.
Yes, North Mariana. I don't know if y'all see, but there's like a map going around of like most popular species in like the US and Europe. I made that map and I totally mistitled US Marshall Islands instead of the US Mariana Islands. And I've been getting roasted for that. There's not enough data for that one. So, like, there's no fairy thing.
I mean, just wonder, where there's people, there's firms, generally.
Yeah, that's true. I don't even know how many people live there, maybe a few thousand.
Hello?
Want to wait a few more, or we?
I want to start at 35.
Okay, what time is it? We have 1 more minute until we start.
Final countdown.
How many of you have been in a hurricane?
Several.
Wow. Been in a tornado? Been in a flash
Derecho.
flood? Oh, good one. Derecho. Flash flood.
Haboob.
Oh, we were close.
All right, we are going to start our panel here. I want to start off today with our local weatherman and the weather. Take it away, Riley Winters.
All right, I guess I'll try to use my broadcaster voice for the first time in 2 years. Currently it is 82 degrees here in Denver, Colorado. If you're not from here, welcome. If you're from here, you know it's a little bit cool for this time of year. Currently it is cloudy with some clearing expected later on today. A stray shower and thunderstorm are possible with a low of 59. Winds are currently west-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. For today, the normal high is 87, so again, we're below that. The record high is 99 degrees, and the record low is 47. If you're from here, you should know we are almost in snow season. In just 2 weeks, it is the record earliest Denver has ever recorded snow. Our average first snow is in about 2 months, about October 16th. And with that, I'll give it to Arryn.
Thank you very much for that weather briefing. Riley, we're going to begin. A lot of you guys are here. How many guys have actually storm chased, like actually gone out into the field to storm chase? I know you, Kobe, might have. You're in the chat.
Yeah.
But everyone else here hasn't had that experience?
Yeah.
We're gonna learn about that. So a lot of misconceptions about storm chasers is that we just go out for fun, and actually, that's true. We do go out for fun, but we also, because of local news coverage, like Riley does over here, to warn the public for any immediate danger that gets broadcasted to the news and warns the public. And also, lots of researchers and scientists go out and collect data. How do we, data like why some supercells do produce tornadoes and some do not? And the answer is still unknown at this time. But how do you, if you really want to, how in the world do you go out of the way to storm chase? You gotta know how storms work, because not every storm will produce a tornado. The cumulus little cloud right outside, that's not gonna produce a tornado. You gotta know what it does. Also, you gotta know how to forecast. We will go over these, by the way, so you'll know. You gotta know how to forecast an event. You don't just go out to the middle of frickin' Kansas to expect a tornado. That doesn't work that way.
No, wait a while.
We gotta go in the month of May. You have a good car. You don't want that beat up truck that's in your neighbor's driveway that the FBI may have raided once looking for some sniffies. You want something with that can good gas mileage and good traction, because a lot of times you will get rained on. We don't want to hydroplane. Unfortunately, there was a couple accidents this past year. Storm chasers were they dig into an accident because of hydroplane. Like specifically, 3 storm chasers from Oklahoma University did go out storm chase. They hydroplaned and a semi truck did hit them. So safety is a huge part of this. Also, going into mud and dirty dirt roads. You slide off that road, you're toast. You're likely in a place that has no Wi-Fi, no signal. You have no way of getting out, and know how to use radar. We like to forecast events using the Storm Prediction Center, and it's a website that's available to the public. That'll give outlooks of days to come. They go days 1 to 3 out. Day 1 being today, and then tomorrow and the next day. That's 3 days. They sometimes have days 4 to 8, but it's too undefinitive to have a special. So this particular day, which I want to go over, is June 17th, 2014. It's in the middle of an outbreak of storms and tornadoes across the Midwest. Nebraska, South Dakota, Iowa, all that area. So it's a little bit more refined with the I don't have a laser pointer. I'm sure Riley does because he's a cat. But,
I didn't know it.
I actually could not bring one because of him, because I'll have pause over my screen. We have this kind of general area of a slight risk of storms. Right there, that yellow one. This is our tornado probability, 10% here and here as well. There's a 2%, and by percent, it's an area within 25 miles of a certain point. So right here, there's a 5% chance within 25 miles of wherever you land. But you can't just go to a place and expect something. Like I said, you've got to actually forecast it, or at least attempt to. And there's a lot of tools that we use, such as Physical Weather and College DuPage. We'll give models of, reflectivity models of where storms might be. You can also use different tools, such as humidity and wind shear. Those are the 4 main ingredients of a supercell and tornado: wind shear, moisture, lift, and instability. This is also another tool we like to use called soundings, not that kind of sounding. It kind of gives us actual analytical data that we can use to kind of give us an idea of what the atmosphere is going to be at this particular time and day. I'm not going to go over everything because it's so confusing. This green line here is our moisture. It gets moist here recently. It's been a little moist here in Colorado recently.
We need the moisture.
And the 50s and 60s dews. These aren't relative humidities, it's the dews that are here. you'll never go above 80, but we have 74 dudes, so that's like really milky. I'm not talking about your boyfriend's milky armpits. This red line is temperature, and this is a nice 80 degrees. As you can see, those two values are really close together. So when those values are close together, big things happen. Big explosion. This is called a holograph. It just kind of gives you like an actual image of the wind shear in that environment. Other numbers that you probably won't know about until you're like really into it. Nowcasting is something that you also got to do. A lot of times you have to use your radar at all times to know where things are at. Because like you can be at one point in your storms down south, and you gotta know where those are. But radar is excellent to use. You can use radar on your phone. There's lots of apps that you can use. The best one that we all use is Radar Scope. You do have to pay to use it, but
No, it's $10.
There's like a free tier and then there's the paid tier.
it's tiered.
Radar Omega is really good because it shows you just the data from one radar and not the whole national mosaic.
It's on there. So Radar Scope and Radar Mega are available on the app stores that you can use to determine where storms are at. It's also good to use in general, so like if there's a snowstorm tomorrow, where do you avoid going on the roads? This is what a supercell looks like that's producing a tornado. You can see here's a big blob. And here's a little hook. We like to call that hook echo. That's where usually a tornado would be. This is reflectivity. That's how like what you see like on the news stations a lot of times.
How much is raining?
How much it's raining.
How hard it's raining.
Harder.
Basically, how much the radar beam is getting reflected back, essentially.
We have another mode that also is helpful. It's called velocity. And velocity is exactly what it is, wind speed. But if there's a concentrated area of high velocity, high wind speeds, in correlation with a hook echo, that should signify it's a tornado. So we have gone on a couple tornado chases. This is still on. This day was very special to me. The previous day, a lot of us local first went out to storm chase. You did. And it was kind of disappointing that day. We thought it was going to be a little better. The next day, kind of had some doubts in mind, but we went out anyway. We were a little late. And we're just like, I don't give a shit. I don't see anything. Oh well, we'll go home. But this is the outlook of this day. We go from Texas all the way to Nebraska, slight risk. And right here we got 2% and a 5%. A little small dot. Nothing lives here. It is absolutely a barren. It is disgusting. You feel nauseated just driving through eastern Kansas.
I know.
So by the time we get like around here, we got all these storms going up. So you kind of have to make a decision like what storm's gonna produce. You can choose either any of these. By the time that we're going down here, this storm is looking like the best. This storm has produced, had a history of like smaller tornadoes. And this one looks like it's strengthening like really good. And we were thinking that, or these two, and one of our friends is also down there, and he didn't really get anything. And all of a sudden, Gage here was like, let's go up north. And I said, okay. And I got chicken, because I was hungry. And then we go up to the north storm. This is the storm right here. You can see blob, hook, right there. You see these polygons? You don't want to be in red. Okay, we're in red. The yellow is a severe thunderstorm warning. The red is a tornado warning. And you get the same annoying Oh, is it on your film like an Amber Alert? It's the same exact one. So here's reflectivity, here's velocity. You can kind of see. And this is, what it looks like. And I got a video, a little 5-minute video. This sound is really bad. pretty much the end of that. Also, I want to give a lot of credit to Gage here. He took a lot of those time lapses and pictures, and they turned out really great. He's an excellent photographer.
I'm teaching him to not film vertical.
I learned that lesson a long time ago. Please ignore that. How many of you guys went to TFF this past year? Did you fly or drive in? Were you stuck at the airport? Is it weather?
Which one? In Dallas?
Yeah.
I don't remember being stuck.
I know a lot of people got stuck at the airport on going back on that Monday.
Oh, I left Sunday. That's.
Well, there was a big event at TFF. And on this day, this is the Monday, we had a moderate risk, which is pretty significant. You don't see those very often. 15% chance within a given 25 miles of point. These black hash marks here means that there's also a significant tornado, which is pretty scary. You don't ever really want to see that anywhere. So a couple days before, I coordinated with a friend who lives in College Station. This was right along the I-35 corridor, and to try and coordinate to leave Sunday night and Chase that Monday. Here's the sounding for this day: 76 degrees over 68 dew points. PDS stands for particularly dangerous situation, which would be pretty much an EF2 or higher. Not very good. This was what the models were suggesting, was a line of supercells along the 35 corridor. Also, here's the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which is why a lot of flights got delayed that night. During the day, we did stage right just east of Round Rock here. Line of supercell storms were building and coming my way. I'm not going to play the YouTube video because the internet's too slow. Here's a tornado I got in a town of Elgin, Texas. I don't know, is anyone here from Texas?
No, I live there for sure.
Where are you guys from?
Dallas.
Dallas? I grew up in Leander, Texas, Central Texas. This was right around Elgin, Texas. Was just north of Bastrop. Got a little tornado. This was rated, actually no, this wasn't little, this was violent. This was an EF2 tornado. And this same tornado, I have a lot of family in Texas as well as Central Texas. That was also concerning. It's not all about the footage. We got to understand that it also can cause damage. This was a relative house of mine. Their house did get torn apart and all their chickens died. But there's a silver lining to every story, and that is that the city didn't condemn the building, and they gave them a loan to rebuild everything. So it's becoming a positive outlook. And when I spoke to them last, they were doing really well. It's also not about tornadoes. We love a good lightning show, and here in Colorado we get a lot of that. We get the luxury of good lightning and large hail. Another thing that we like to chase for: motherships. Motherships are rotating supercells, but they don't produce tornadoes, and it's more about the sculpture and the structure to the supercell itself. This was earlier this past year in Kansas. When you hear on the news, we always often talk about they sometimes mention a tornado watch or a tornado warning in a specific area. A lot of people are confused by the differences in what that means. Tacos. We have the ingredients to tacos. It's a watch. We make tacos. That's a warning. Warning is tacos are there. Watch is we have stuff for the tacos.
That's good.
And I don't know if Riley wants to mention anything about the news side because it is very important for news coverage. Oftentimes we have they have the live footage, and the reporter is reporting on the storm itself, kind of at the same time.
Yeah, so for news, a lot of people don't realize that most people, the average person, usually gets their breaking weather information from their local news sources. Either turn on the TV, turn on the radio, weather radios, any of that sort of thing. So when you're out there storm chasing, the information you relay on social media, or even report directly to the news station in that area, they relay it onto their broadcast, and it's even used by the National Weather Service to be able to help tag and identify certain types of tornado warnings. And so that important information that if you all ever storm chase, gather and post online is super helpful, because then that gets relayed to the thousands or even millions of people in that area who will understand and know the severity of what's happening, what's coming to them. And in some cases, it'll even convince them, hey, wow, this happened 5 minutes down the road. I better get the coverage now. I better take shelter right this second. So it's very important that we have those visuals, those things for local news media to really make people understand, hey, this violent thing is coming to you. If you don't take shelter, you could die from it. So it's very important that it's for public use, really, the help that storm chasers give us.
We'd also like to mention it on top of that is that sometimes storms don't go like tornado warnings, and it's helpful for people in the field to report it to the news. This same day that we had this, there was an EF2 in Round Rock, Texas, that did not go warned for a while. But one of the news stations had a camera on top of I think it's a Great Wolf Lodge, that actually had confirmed that the tornado was there. And because of that, they're alive, so people in Round Rock, Texas, which is a heavily populated area, were able to get to cover, even if there was no tornado warning that was posted. So I would like to, I like to hear what other people's have been through. Some people in here have been through tornadoes and hurricanes, so I just want to see if anyone else has any experiences they'd like to share.
We were driving up to Mount Rushmore, and I don't remember what road it was on, but I think 15 miles over, we saw a funnel cloud touch down all the way. It was pretty cool. And then the only other time that I've been in a severe storm is I think 2009 or something like that, and we were driving down along the south coast. Well, we were going to be going along the coast and going up, and we were in Shamrock, Texas, and there was a massive tornado nearby, and the key memory for that was that we had one of those little cargo hatches on the top of our car, and that got blown open, and a bunch of clothes got blown all over the road, so we had to go back and pick all the clothes up.
That sounds frightening.
It was fun. I was 8 at the time.
I just want to hear from any of you guys up here what got you into, what specific event got you into storm chasing and weather.
Start? Yeah. All right. I've always really been in weather for a while. One of the first major weather events that I remember, I used to live out towards the Washington, D.C. area, and we had a hurricane in 2003 called Hurricane Isabel. And it was a Category 1 when it hit where I was living, but just the sheer power of a hurricane, even a Category 1 in the East Coast, is just unheard of. And I remember, seeing the lightning and the clouds that just formed while it was going off the coast, and it's something I've never seen before. And that really kickstarted, just the interest of why does this happen? What makes this happen? And where can I see more of it? And for storms, the biggest thing is probably in 2012, I was still living out on the East Coast. We had a derecho, which is pretty much a bow echo thunderstorm. Gage, you want to give a summary of the derecho? No? Arryn, want to give a summary of the derecho?
It's think of like a land hurricane. It's just straight line winds going in a single direction, a line of storms from north to south with powerful winds at least 70 miles per hour.
right? And they travel for at least 200 miles, so they were very long stretch. This one started all the way in Chicago and went all the way to Delaware, so it was a very long derecho. And that one was, it had like 80-mile-an-hour wind when it hit my house, and I've never seen, it looked almost like Hurricane Isabel all over again, but it was a derecho, not a hurricane. And it was the middle of June too, so that just gave me the excitement of, hey, why does this happen? How can I learn more about it, and where can I see more? And so with that, if either you three want to.
I've got a story.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I guess like the events that really got me into weather would have been back in 2007, July. It would have been, I was with my parents. I was a little kid back then, and they took me up to Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota, and we were camping and fishing there for a week. And essentially what happened is one of those nights, there was a massive, system of storms that moved through, and they of course are severe. And I do remember that my dad told me there's a tornado warning, we need to go now. And at the time I just really didn't think much of it, but what did end up happening that night is the tornado did not touch down right where we were, but there did end up being an EF2 about 20 miles away, so a significant tornado. But the one thing I really remember about that night is our entire campsite got flooded out. And we didn't have a camper at that time, we were in a tent. So our tent got completely soaked, all of our clothes soaked, dirty, and we spent the entire next day at the laundromat in the nearest town. But then I didn't really start getting into chasing until 2019 when a local furry friend of mine got me into it. So went with him a few times, and now I usually do it with him when he's around, but sometimes I'll go by myself. It's hard to do when you're in eastern Montana, where the road network sucks, there's no cell service, and the radar coverage is questionable at best. Yeah, you got something, Gage?
I've just grown up in Colorado, so I can't really think of any specific one event that got me into weather. It's just every season there's something happening here, whether it be blizzards or tornadoes or flooding, and around this time usually we get a lot of rain and floods. It's just not one pinpoint event, so it's really been a lifelong thing for me. And I knew coming out of high school I want to go to school for meteorology and weather, and the second I was 17 or something, I'd started storm chasing. I mean, at first I just convinced my parents to just take me. That's actually how I saw my first tornado. But then I started finding these guys and a group of, at first just a group of local furries that liked to storm chase, and I was this 18-year-old kid. I just wanted to tag along and take cool pictures, and now I'm 21 and chase a whole lot.
Yeah, we chase a lot, especially this year.
A little bit too much.
10,000 miles, I'd say, I put on my car.
Did not mention the spur of the moment decision I made to drive all the way to Sioux Falls from eastern Montana on Memorial Day.
Yeah, well, we kind of convinced you though.
Yeah,
we kind of pushed
yeah, you guys did.
I've always. How many of you guys have seen the movie Twister? Everybody has seen it. I've always loved Twister as a kid, and it's one of my favorite movies. But I was in my 4th grade, 2008. Yeah, 2008. I'm pretty sure. We don't living along the Front Range of Colorado. You don't often see severe storms. But in May 2008, there was a weird outbreak here in Colorado, and the town nearby called Windsor got struck by an EF3 tornado. and a mile wide, wedge tornado. I was at school and we were in like complete lockdown and having to do those procedures. So it was kind of frightening, but also like it really got me like the ball rolling and the seed planted in my head about storms. And I have some friends that were interested in storms. It wasn't really until about 2020 when we got together with a group of friends and gone out on storm chases.
It's a fun time. Very fun time, right?
Fun indeed, man.
Yeah, it can be disappointing. It can be very disappointing. But if you go out on a storm chase, learn all this stuff, get confident. Realize that nothing is certain, nothing is guaranteed. It's forecasting, it's hard. There will be many misses, many misses, and you'll be frustrated, you'll be upset, but don't be. There's always next time, there's always another day, there's always something new to learn and to see eventually. You all get there. So don't let a day of nothing discourage you, because you will get something eventually. Just stay dedicated, stay trained, stay informed. And that's really the biggest advice that I can give. You want to send it back to the audience now, Arryn?
Yeah, just one last thing to add on to that as well is, even if you don't see if you don't see a tornado, there's also a lot of things to appreciate, like lightning at night is spectacular, or any structure, shelf clouds, motherships. Those are always fun. But just wanted to see if anybody else has any cool stories they want to share. I always enjoy listening to people.
Or questions, Bryce?
If you have any questions, we are free to answer anything you guys have. What you got for me?
I do have a story, and this is only because I tagged along with him and his furry friend going down to Texas. We did actually manage to sort of catch a tornado, technically.
Yeah, it was pretty rain wrapped though. That would have been May 23rd, 2021. So that was like the day before you guys got that Selden tornado in Kansas.
Yeah. When we were going through that storm, I didn't know it at the time, but I was staring straight at it. Because I was like, that sort of looks like a tornado. And then, of course, this is my first real storm chasing trip where we're actually getting a tornado. So these guys have the brilliant idea to shout, today's the day we might actually die.
I remember that day too, when we were out in the field, and usually they don't move 60 miles per hour. That day they definitely did.
Any more questions, comments, stories, anything? I could blabble about snow for the next 20 minutes.
This past winter, we had active fun. He was out in the chicken run area. We got about he was putting some chickens away because we saw snow squall coming in. And we had about, it was 87-mile-an-hour winds, straight line winds. And he was out there in the middle of it. It was just a dust storm at first. He was getting pelted by rocks. And then the snow just came in, and he couldn't see 50 yards out towards where the RV was sitting. Snow squall.
Gotta love them snow.
Snow squalls are something else.
It's wild.
It's like a clear blue day, and then 2 minutes later, because if it comes behind you, you don't see it if you're driving. Like, it's a clear blue day in front of you, and it comes from behind you, and it's instant. Suddenly you're in a blizzard and can't see anything in front of you. It's terrifying.
It dropped like, 20 degrees in 2 minutes? Oh, well,
We have a large group of local chasers in Colorado, and it looks like none of them showed up to this. They're well aware. Just us up here. So I think we're going to adjourn early.
Unless you have more stories.
Hopefully I didn't bore you guys. I just think it's really fascinating to share with everyone.
And one last thing, if this is like all overwhelming, you have no idea where to start, you have all this info, it's like, wow, this seems cool, but I have no idea where to start. My biggest advice, research when and where the closest National Weather Service storm spotter training is for you. It's free to the public, And pretty much you go there and they teach you how to be a certified storm spotter, and you report certain, storm aspects to the National Weather Service that they can use. And again, it's free to the public, absolutely free, and it's really helpful because the more spotters we have out there, the more info we can get. It's a very good, just fundamental starting point to storm chasing. So if it's something you want to do, start there.
I should add, they usually do it every April. Yep. Yep. They usually do it in all the major towns in their county warning area. So I would check in with the National Weather Service Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, website, that type of stuff, because they will announce it.
Right, and for all those out here in Colorado, you'll find that info. If you're in the Denver area of the National Weather Service Boulder, that's our pretty much our National Weather Service office. If you're down south, which is Colorado Springs, it's going to be Pueblo. There's Grand Junction out west too, right? Yeah. And I think it's pretty out of Colorado. And then there's out in Kansas. There's Goodland, right? Yeah, Goodland.
North there's Cheyenne.
Yeah. But Denver area, there'll be NWS Boulder. Really, if you have no idea, like if you're not from Colorado, you have just no idea, you can literally just look up National Weather Service, your city office, and it'll take you the right direction. And then you can sign up for that Storm Spotter program, and it'll be a very good starting point for pursuing helping people with storm chasing and starting your journey for storm chasing.
I don't even think you have to sign up, you just show up.
Yeah, you might.
How it was for when we did it back in Montana for NWS Billings.
Yeah, you might. I think it was, well, and here, I only remember 3 locations in Denver. There's so many more than ones that I'm going to list. I remember there was one in Aurora, there was one in, I believe it was Watkins, and there's one in Bennett. But there's a lot more than that. I just don't
Commerce
remember.
City.
Yeah, I just don't remember the rest off the top of my head. But so, any questions, stories, anything?
All right, thank you guys for coming out here. We appreciate your support, and hope you have the rest of the fun of the con.
If you want to ask any questions, you're scared of asking in front of everyone, you want to come up to us and ask, feel free.
It's okay.